Hi guys, Long White Mane here again. This is a channel where if you can grow your hair down to your butt, you'll never have a bad hair day. Yes, I do have a cigarette in my hand, but you need to understand something. My friends need me to smoke. Yes, I know it's horrible for you, but you got to understand I have no family and no one's gonna, no one's gonna get hurt, So, welcome Beatty behind me. I want to tell you something interesting about Beatty. Uh, in all the years I've had him, he has learned when Mama is irritated, and unfortunately, he knows the F word. He knows the S. He knows the word shit. He knows a lot of obscenities, and this dude is not about bad moods at all. He will jump down from the bed and go somewhere else. And I have never hand to heart, I have never hurt this dog in my life. I adopted him off as a stray off the street, so I really have no idea what he went through before I picked him up, but this guy is not about a bad mood. So, okay, let's get down to business here. I chose the phrase coming out with a mental illness because in a lot of ways, mental illness has kind of the same type of stigma that the poor folks in the LGBTQ community are dealing with. If you are a member of that community and you're offended with me using the term coming out, I do apologize for offending you, but it's perfect for my purposes here. And hopefully you will forgive me and know that I'm not making fun of you. It's just such a great term, okay? Um, it occurred to me while I was doing my kleptomania video just before this one that a lot of folks, especially if you're newly diagnosed, telling people coming out with your mental illness is a difficult thing. And, I realize that not everybody's like me. I have a very outgoing personality. I talk to everybody that'll talk to me. Um, I, my friends tell me they never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't say anything offensive. I just say the truth as I see it, which gets me in hot water sometimes. But hey, I'm going on 53. I'm a pretty good judge of character. I've got a good bunch of friends. So there you are. Okay. Anyway, so how do you decide? What do you do? Okay, well, I'm going to give you some helpful hints that I've used and other folks have used to come out to their significant others, their relatives, friends, coworkers, that kind of thing. Number one, I want to tell you something. You decide how much you tell, what you tell, all that stuff. Because you know what? You know what's good for you. You know what's going on in your life. And Long White Mane is not telling you what to do. I'm just maybe giving you some ideas. Number one, I want to encourage you only to tell somebody when you are ready to tell somebody, okay? Because unlike a lot of things in life, this is all about you and no one else. It's a very personal decision, and it's not an easy one. It's a scary one in a lot of ways for some of us. I personally don't care what people think because I know the truth about my mental illness. I know as much as I can about it as a layperson and as a mental health advocate. I work very hard against the stigma and against joking about it. And, it's one thing if I laugh at myself or if my doctor has me laughing at my illness, but it's another thing to be made fun of. And I think you know the distinction there. Okay, so obviously it's a very personal choice. So before you tell anyone, I suggest I suggest that you do some role play with your doctor or your therapist, because they will help you word things in a way that other folks can perhaps understand. They will help you discuss any worries or concerns you may have about talking to certain people. And they'll obviously there to answer any questions you may have. Um, And so that practice really helps you clarify your own thinking, and, you know, as well as kind of determine who to tell, you know. Um, Number two, and this is almost as, actually it is as important as when you're ready to tell, is when you are well. Now, I don't like the word well, because it indicates that you're cured. I don't like the word recovery, because it indicates that you're cured. That's my opinion. In Long White Bane's world, um, I will never be cured of bipolar 2. I will always have it until the day I die. So I can never recover, and I can never be well of that particular thing in my life. However, I like the word remission, because I find that when I'm on schedule with my medications, I have all my medications, and I'm seeing my doctor regularly, and I'm doing the things I need to do to take care of me, I'm in remission, and things are very steady and chugging along as well as they can. So when you're in remission, it helps you to provide a calm environment for that person that you're telling, because you're not in the throes of depression, or you're not in the throes of schizophrenia, you're not in the throes of, say, a mania, or or the other way, depression. It's calm, and you're thinking clearly, and you would know, and in thinking clearly, you can come up with the best way to tell the person of your illness, and decide how much and what to tell them. Obviously, there's people in our lives we can tell everything to sometimes, and other times there's just not. Okay? And another thing, too, is you may not want to say anything unless it serves a purpose. Okay? There may be a loved one that you hang around quite a bit, a relative or a friend, it doesn't matter, a loved one, and that person's kind of noticed you've been off, and they're not familiar with the fact that you've gone to the doctor and been diagnosed. So they're worried about you. So to alleviate those worries, you may want to talk to them and say, look, I've been diagnosed with this, and I'm seeing this doctor, and I'm taking this medication, and I'm getting a handle on it, and thank you so much for concern. I just love you for it. Whatever that you're comfortable in saying. That's my words. You use your words. Um, Maybe there's a friend of yours that, you've kind of pulled out of your social circle. Maybe you haven't attended the brunch that's always, every Saturday, or whatever it is in your life that you do, because you've had to pull out to take care of you and get yourself into remission. Um, you might want to explain to that friend a certain amount of what's going on. And that friend, if they're truly a friend, will get it. So you weren't mad at me. You're dealing with this. Oh, I understand. Now help me understand other things. Can you tell me about your illness? That kind of thing. Hopefully you've got friends that are like mine, that understand. I don't have time for people in my life that don't get it. you know. Um, Telling your employer is something I'm going to handle a little later in this video. It's because there's some sticky things there. So I want you to understand that in this section of telling people when it serves a purpose, there are many reasons to disclose things as there are to stay silent. So you have to make sure that you mitigate the risk to yourself, or like mitigate, when you make sure that you're protecting yourself when you decide who to tell about your illness. Okay, now how do I decide who to tell? Uh, one of the big one of my big favorites in any kind of a conundrum, not just who to tell about mental illness, but goodness, if I want to change doctors, if I want another car, like, yeah, I have money, but you know what I'm saying? If there's something going on and I'm really not sure what to do, I will sit down and do a pro and con. Okay, so maybe in this situation, You can open up a spreadsheet in Excel, or do it on paper if you feel like it. Um, First list the people that you're interested in maybe telling. Your family maybe on top. Mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever. Your close friends down to your acquaintances, co-workers. And I'm not saying list everybody in your workforce, but I'm saying list people that you work closely with. Some of us don't have coworkers. Some of us are working directly for somebody, and it's just the two of you, which happened to me a number of years because I worked for attorneys, and they just needed a secretary, so it was just the two of us. There was no coworkers, and so anyway, there you go. Um, so, like I said, you're taking a huge risk telling anybody anything because of the stigma involved with mental illness. So this list of pros and cons will help you to decide. You need to consider very carefully each name on your list. Take time. Mom and dad may be a little, yeah, mom will get it, and I can just tell her everything that's going on. Dad, maybe not so much. He may not be the emotional type, so maybe mom can tell dad if it's necessary. Um, my brother won't get it, but my sister, we're really close. Yeah, she'll get it. I can tell her. You know what I'm saying? Um, and the positive and negatives are going to be different for everybody on your list. So you really need to think things through and take your time. Just don't whip through it. Take your time. Um, and I need you to understand that just because someone is not able to offer some sort of emotional support for you, it doesn't mean that they love you any less, or that they're going to hate you because you have this mental illness. All it means is they're not just they're not really up on being an emotional support. It's a learned skill. It's not something we're born with. Um, and so, like I said, it doesn't mean they love you any less or they hate you. It's, they just don't have that skill. Um, so like I said, seriously consider the names, take your time, and be as clear and concise as you can in the pro and the con. Take it to your therapist if you have to. Go over every name, Get your therapist or your doctor's input. That's important if you're not sure, because when you bounce it off your therapist or your doctor, they may be able to see something you don't. All right. Um, and one of the things that you might want to list on a fourth column is who's the best to get a hug from, right? There are people out there, and I'm one of them, where if a friend of mine, I just need a hug, and I don't ask why, I give them a hug, and I hug them as long as they need to be hugged. I'm like that. Um, I'm also a good listening ear. I've had friends of mine go, look, just shut up, sit down, and just listen. Oh, okay. And I sit and I listen. And I'll ask, can I say something? No. Okay. You know, this conversation is all about you. So make notations in the fourth column. Oh, God, great hugger, great listening ear. Oh, boy, don't talk to this person. So make sure that you know where your grade A emotional support people will be, and make sure that you keep them close to you, because it's very, very important. Now, this is the subject I hate the most. Do I tell my employer? Well, it's hard to give you suggestions on that, and I'll tell you why. Jobs, everybody's job is different. Some people work retail, some people work fast food, where it's so stressful, especially at certain times of the day or certain times of the year. Christmas is horrible for retailers, and you're just this warm body, thrown into a station or thrown at a cash register just to keep the system moving. And your boss may not have time to sit and listen to you go, you know what, I've got depression and I need these certain, I need your help, that's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Um, The other thing is, um, telling your boss, but do you tell your coworkers anything? What do you tell them? How much do you tell them? Can you trust them, right? Because they're not your friends, they're your coworkers. And I'm not talking like, a lot of folks have friends, really good friends at work, or, they may have a spouse that works at the same plant and they work in different departments. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that are coworkers. They're people you work with, but you wouldn't necessarily have them over for dinner. Okay? So do I say anything to them? Do I not? What do I do? Only you can make that determination for yourself. Okay? I want to make you aware that if you don't know, that mental illness is a disability and under the Civil Rights Act. So if you tell your boss that you have this mental illness, this disability, the employer is required to make special accommodations to help you succeed as part of your job. Something like, say for example, you're working on a line, and you're just in a factory and you're just plugging, you know, widgets into, radio sets or whatever. That tells you how old I am. Radio sets. Um, and you've got arthritis in your hips. You can do the job. You just need a stool to sit on, and you need to walk around every few minutes. The employer may say, okay, you know what? I know I really need someone who can stand on the line, but I can put you in this position for the same pay and help you succeed here. Um, like I said, whatever accommodation they can make for you, but be aware that there are employers out there that don't care. And you go to them and you say, you know what? I've got this mental illness and I need your help to help me succeed. And they'll go, oh, okay, first of all. And then they'll find a reason to fire you that is outside the mental illness disability. And it's happened to me so many times I can't tell you. I just can't. My next to last job, I was let go because of lies that a girl that was close to the boss, and you know what I'm saying, had told the boss, and long white mane got chucked to the curb. The good news is that there are wonderful employers out there depending on where you work. My last job, uh, I took the gamble and I told my employer, I go, look, this is what I'm dealing with. I need, afternoons sometimes to go see my doctor. I'm more than willing to make up the hour. She says, I got you, no worries. And she helped me succeed in that job. And I mean, to this day, even though I'm retired, I will do anything for her. If she had a flat tire and needed me to come help her, I would do it. So she's not my friend, she's my boss, but I'm so grateful to her. That's how I feel. So only you know the weather, and I use that term, the weather, in where you work. And so I just want to suggest to you that you be careful, protect yourself, know who you're dealing with. Do I tell my employer? It's really up to you, but do study up on the legal rights you have as a person with mental illness. Know what you can do to protect yourself. Protect yourself in a work environment, because people are Machiavellian, and by that I mean they're political. They do all these kind of infighting, and if you're good at that, more power to you. Long white mane is, I am so blunt and so honest. When someone does this Machiavellian thing and manipulating, I'm at sea. I'm completely lost. I don't do that stuff to people. So there you go. That's the first part. I hope that I've been able to give you some helpful hints on how to tell people that you have a mental illness. I want to encourage you to hang in there. If your medication doesn't feel right, go back to your doctor, try another one. Don't give up, because, you know, remission is everything. If you can get remission, then you can live a full life and just have that handled for you, okay? Um, so if you have any comments or questions about me and my illness, please leave them down in the comments section. I've got nothing to hide. So I am more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Beatty, of course, he's laying down back there. He doesn't answer questions. He doesn't do interviews, so I do apologize. And again, thank you so much for your time. And if there's something you want to see, let me know in the comment section. As Jeffree Star does, typing, I have left my suicide lifelines and other information down below that I find it's pertinent to folks that might watch my videos. Thanks again, and y'all take care till next time.